I would literally say that had become dormant in my life. 3 weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago, was on a Monday morning when we were praying. And it's like the Holy Spirit just hit me so that I started weeping and I couldn't stop. I'm sorry. Oh. I started, and I couldn't stop weeping because he was restoring me. He was bringing me to that place, not where I was, but he was bringing me beyond the place that I had been in. And I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful that he told me back in, I think it was July, he said shift. And when he told me to shift, I literally felt a freedom. It was in my belly. And in Luke, it said when Mary met Elizabeth, that the baby leaped in her belly. It was like there was a leaping that was within me. And I knew it was time to move, that I had to leave the place that I was in. Just like he told the children of Israel when they were at the mountain, he said, you have been in this place for too long. He said, now it's time to journey on. And this is what he was telling me when he said shift. He said, it's time to journey on. Because if I had stayed there, only God knows. But I really appreciate you. I appreciate the whole team. I appreciate every one of you that is a member of New Wine Covenant Community. I am really appreciative. And he also brought me to a place. You asked me to talk about myself tonight. This is what I'm doing. It's like I'm releasing, and as I do, I'm getting free. There was a disconnect that took place from the past in my life because I had to be brought into a new place in him. I knew this had to come because I knew there was more. And I had been seeking God for more of what he had for me. And in doing that, I had to disconnect because I can say that my strength was literally my strength was being devoured in my prayer life, in my reading the word. It was being devoured. This was a fight that I was in. I am not ungrateful. I thank God for it because it really taught me how to press and to push and not to give up, not to give in to what was taking place, but to keep pressing, to keep fighting with the good fight of faith. And it wasn't something that I was doing in the natural, but it had to be done in the spirit realm, because there were negative things that were coming at me that I had to make decisions. Either I was going to bow to those negative things, or I was going to allow myself to keep pressing forth in order to attain what God had chosen me to do. Excuse me, y'all. But I want to go to Ephesians, the 4th chapter of Ephesians. And it's starting at verse 1. And it said, therefore, I, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling with which you were called, with complete humility and gentleness, with patience, putting up with one another in love, making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of shalom. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you also were called in one hope of your calling, one faith, one Lord, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all, through all, and in all. And Apostle, I am so grateful that I knew about the fivefold ministry, but since I have come into this relationship with New Wine Community, I am learning so much about the function of it. The function of the apostle, the function of the prophet, the function of the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist. I'm learning about their function and how each one operates and how each one need each other and how there is such a connection there that it cannot be separated, that when it is separated, that it is not functioning in the way that God wanted to function. And with me, I had to, I'm like, okay, God, I really want to know what it is and how it works. Because if I don't know, then I don't know how to or what to do. I have to know this. And I am so thankful that God hears and he answers. And he told me, he said, now just keep walking in love. Just keep walking in the thing that you have been called to do. And that I had to do that until the time came for he to tell me now it's time to shift, because now I have something more for you. And you are going to get it from a father now that you never did get it from. And a mother that you never did get it from. Even with that relationship. And I'm glad that it happened the way that it did, because I knew for some years that I was going to be coming under someone, but I didn't know who it was. And I thank God that he chose you and prophetess for us to come under. And I also thank God that, the way that you met my husband and the two of you connected, I thank God also for that connection, because we literally needed that connection. We need that connection with you. We need that connection and that fellowship with all the members of New Wine in order to help build us. Because that was a tearing down that happened. But now God is building me. I I'm trying to express right now how I am literally feeling, and it's kind of hard to put it in words. But I thank God for this. And you know, my heart's desire have always been, Father, I want to do your will. I want to walk in your will. I want to walk in your ways because I want to know you, Father. I don't want to know your hand, but I want to know your ways. I see your hands. I know your hand, but I got to know your heartbeat. I want your eyes to see the way that you see things. And in doing this, the shift took place. And I am thankful. I keep saying I'm thankful because I am thankful. I am grateful for this. There was a time, well, he also showed me that coming out, that I had to be turned because, let's go to let me read this in Hosea 7. Hosea 7 verse 8. And I remember reading, and I had to read this today and take a look at myself and how God had brought me out. He showed me how he brought me. And he says, and he was talking to Ephraim. He said, Ephraim mixes with the nations. Ephraim is a flat cake, not turned over. Foreigners sap his strength, but he does not realize it. His hair is sprinkled with gray, but he does not notice. I said, God, I thank you that you really showed me where I was and where I am now. That bringing me into this new apostolic team, that the gray hairs are not there, and that I was turned in order to go forth, not to stay flat and unturned pancake, but to go forth and not just stay there and just lay there and think that I'm moving and I'm not moving. And I said, God, I said, you know, you have given me a family that I can really communicate with on a totally different level, because now it's the level of the kingdom. Knowing who I am in the kingdom, knowing who God is, knowing my Father now, and learning more about my Father now. I learned about Jesus, but I needed to know my Father. I need to know the Holy Spirit, because it's like everything was Jesus. And yes, he did pay that price for us. He bought us, but I needed to go further than that. I need to know my Father now, how much he loves us and how much he cares for us and how much we are daily on his mind, and that we really never leaves his mind. I also told him, I said that you brought me into this place, but yet there is purpose for it. There is destiny. And I'm willing. I am willing to obey. I say, God, and I choose to come under apostle, and I choose to come under prophetess. And also, my brothers and sisters who are also part of New Wine for that covenant relationship, not just a relationship, but a covenant relationship, because this is what he brought us into, a covenant relationship. I have learned that. And I'm still learning. I haven't arrived yet. I'm still learning because I know there is much more for me to learn. That I appreciate that the teaching, so Apostle, that I learned how to pray in the Spirit years ago. But one thing that you said, it had to be, it was a little more than a month ago, that, you know, when you're praying in the Spirit, he said to hear what the Spirit is saying unto while you are praying. I was so accustomed to doing that. And there were times when I was literally sick. I said, oh, wait a minute, Holy Spirit. I said, now hold up now. Run that over again for me so I can write this down. But when you're hearing that, you have to shut up and just listen to what God is saying. That tore me down there, and that really tore me down right there. And I somewhat lost that. But God is restoring that back to me in that place, whereas I'm hearing as I'm praying, and I'm also writing again. It's a restoration that's taken place in my life. I'm being brought back to the but the is going forth. It's not going back to what was, but it's going forward, because there is so much that is still there that I am still learning in this and about the Apostolic Team. And even when I flipped I was not flipping open, but I was turning the pages, because I had gone to Romans to look up something in there, and I turned the page over, and one of the headings on the chapter 16 was Welcome the Apostolic Team. So Apostle, I know you told me 30 minutes, but I'm going as long as I could. I hope I'm forgiven if I don't go 30 minutes. But I saw that and I'm like, God, I said, they have welcomed not just myself, but my husband, as if we have been there all the time. Not just come in there, but that we are really a part of this team. And I am so connected there that it's really a joy for me to be connected with every one of you. Because, see, there was a time when I was like, I may sound like I'm rambling, but I'm not. I'm just talking about me right now, and just letting you know where I am now. This is where I am now. See, there was a time when I was like warring in the Spirit, but yet I was not. It was like I was fighting, but it was not from the heavenly places that Apostle been talking about. I had read that passage, I can't tell you how many times in Ephesians 1. Not just that, but that whole chapter, I will literally read. But I never did understand, not until he started talking to us and teaching us and telling us that we are to be warring from the heavenly place. And I had been warring, but I was warring from the earthly place and wondering why I was getting literally backslash from the enemy. I couldn't understand it. And I am so thankful God is bringing me into an understanding now, that the eyes of my understanding now is being enlightened. And also, you know, he's bringing me into that realm of the spiritual wisdom to know how to. But I had been warring from that place in the spirit and never knew that I was being attacked by the enemy because I was not in the heavenly realm, but I was warring in the earthly realm. So God had placed down, now that I know, and it is such a different now when I'm in the spirit praying. I don't have those attacks like I used to have from the enemy warring in that place, because now I know who I am. I know my identity. I know my Father. I know that I'm seated in the heavenly places and that I'm warring in the heavenly places, and that I don't take authority, which have already been given unto me. I knew about authority, but I was always taking authority instead of just walking in the authority. So I choose to, okay, God, walk in the authority, and not just the power, but the power and the authority. I thank God for the Holy Spirit, how this is the daily walk I have with him. And a few weeks ago, I said that I had to get back to my porch. And this is my place, whereas I met with God out there on my porch. And hopefully next week, I will be back out there next week. I have to get back out there and get back into that, not the same, because I don't want anything to be the same. I have to keep moving forward. I have to go further than I was when I was out there. So when I go back out there, it's going to be totally different, because my understanding now is much more fruitful than it was then. Not just the understanding, but also the knowledge also, because there are things that we have to know. If we don't know to do something, then we can't do it. But now I know. So since I know, now I know that I can do this. And I know who I am. I know the place that I'm seated in. I know the authority that have been given unto me to do this. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful for you, Apostle, and for you, prophetess. And for the whole team. And I thank God for y'all. I don't know if this is 30 minutes, but it's.
All right. All right. Well, very good. We appreciate what you had to say. And listen, I'm going to stop that because we're going to put that in a file. So let me deal with the recording here.